Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today I've got another book review to discuss with you and I'm really excited about it, and that is the book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di
I don't have a physical copy of this because I read it via audiobook and I loved this book and I want everybody to read it. This one took me by surprise. It was a book that I saw came out only a few months ago. Maybe 6 months ago, I can't remember. And I thought, you know what, that sounds pretty interesting. But it's a retelling of the Bible stories that involve Jesus, basically. It's a retelling of Jesus's time and imagining if he had a wife. And I thought that as interesting as that seemed, I was like, is that something I want to read? I'm not sure. And then on a whim, I decided to pick it up as an audiobook and ended up absolutely freaking loving it. So we're going to be talking about it today. I had originally rated this 4 out of 5 stars. If you've seen my book haul for October, you'll have seen that, but I've just been obsessing over this book since I finished it, so I've decided to increase my rating to 5 stars because this book was really, really good. I just can't express how much it has stuck with me since finishing it. So Sue Monk Kidd has written quite a few books, but this is the first time I have ever read one of her books. Over on Goodreads, it has an average rating of 4.26 stars out of 5, and it's got just under 38,000 ratings as I'm filming this, so it has already gained quite a bit of traction. Also, you may have noticed that I am wearing this headband again. I'd be prepared to see it a lot. I'm currently really digging the way it looks, so I really hope that when I get to editing this, I still like it. So yeah, if I had the same hairstyle for like every video for the next month, then I'm just currently obsessed with the hairband look, so let's just move on from that. So one of the books that I am familiar with that Kidd has written before is The Secret Life of Bees, but she's also written something called The Invention of Wings, The Mermaid Chair, The Dance of the Dissident Daughter, quite a few things. What I think is just really fascinating about this book is the fact that she's been so bold to do a retelling of such a profound biblical story that is obviously a topic very sacred to a lot of people throughout the world, but she has done it so tactfully. So if you are worried that this is really disrespectful, as I said in my book haul, I did go through a religious education and I didn't feel that this was overstepping the line in what she's trying to do with this book. It is actually a very female empowering book, and I think that is the main thing to take away from it, because the reason that she's written this is she's gone, well, hey, writing and the clergy has been a very male dominant sort of industry. That feels weird to call it industry, but you know what I mean. And it is entirely likely that perhaps if Jesus did have a wife, which given the time, the circumstances and the culture he was surrounded in would have been a normal thing for him to have done or to have, then perhaps she just got written out of history as somebody who didn't have a voice because she was a woman. She wasn't seen as a particularly important character. And I think that's a really interesting concept to be like, well, they could have just eradicated her from the historical record. That almost makes perfect sense. Why would they record his wife? What important things did she do? And that's obviously a very strong theme that we follow throughout the book, because the main character is called Anna, and she has this sort of plotline that carries through where she wants to make it her mission to record the stories of women around her. And so she obviously mentions some particular stories that are in the Bible, and Kidd has imagined that she's the one to have recorded them to make sure that their stories are told forwards into the future. So that there is some record of these amazing women and the things that they have done. I have also read quite a few reviews on Goodreads just to sort of skim through and get take the temperature of the room, and it seems that quite a few other people on Goodreads who are significantly religious have found this to be perfectly fine with the way it's written. So if that was any of your fears, then feel reassured that this is not going to be slapping you around with your own religion in your face. It is actually very well done. I found that the cleverness and the empoweringness of the story aside, the actual setting and descriptions of the worlds that we enter into this book was phenomenal. It was very atmospheric, and I found myself really losing myself in my imagination, just being able to see where they were and imagine the sort of places that they were going to. I've personally never read a book, I don't think, that's been set so far back that wasn't mythology. I feel like when you start to go back 2,000 years, you tend to lean heavily into historical fiction that borders fantasy, or you edge towards mythology. And obviously not mythology at 2,000 years ago, but you know what I mean. And I've never really read a book. I don't think that's probably my own doing. I think it is my own doing. It's just not a genre of historical fiction I've tapped into. That's set around the times of Jesus. it is such a wonderful world, and maybe this is why it had such a profound impact on me, is because the historical fiction I read is usually within the last 100 to 200 years. So it was really, really fun to go back even further and have a look at a world that is so different to the one we live in now, that is much more simplified and humble, and where the cultures are much more entrenched and almost invasive of people's own life with the rules and regulations that they are adhering to. I thought it was really interesting reading about the culture that Anna was living through, especially when it comes to purity. This is not something I'm familiar with when it comes to religion, though, and I don't know how applicable that is in today's culture, in today's times, but yeah, I just found it was amazing. And there's a particular section of the book set in Egypt. Like, is it called Ancient Egypt 2,000 years ago? It's something I actually don't know. Somebody tell me if you know. And the way that they describe it was just magical. It's this nostalgic time capsule that I wish I could go back and see. I really wish I could go and see the world that Kid has described, because it was just unlike anything else I have ever read. The character of Anna herself is really, really strong, and I did really enjoy the audiobook performance as well. But to talk about Anna first, I think she was quite a profound character, and unlike any other female lead I've read before, she's very unique, and she's like an independent character that is appropriately independent within her own time period. It's not unbelievable the amount that she's pushing against restraints or challenging the societal structures around her, and it doesn't seem unbelievable that she is doing so. It's quite tastefully done. I feel like tasteful is the word to sum up this book. The way that, yeah, she stands up to things she doesn't like and things she wants to get out of life. I think that's really clever. And the fact that the book largely surrounds the main character of Anna with other women. And that's obviously really nice as a woman to read a book where it's not just one strong, boyish character, and Anna is not boyish. She not just her, and then surrounded by all these powerful men. It is her, it is Jesus, who is incredibly respectful and honestly a total heartthrob, which is strange and something I never thought I would say, but Jesus is like, he's like on my list of heartthrob men, and I'm not even sure if that's okay, but like, whew, I want to marry a man like Jesus. He's so respectful. It was just, oh, it was amazing. But yeah, having other strong women surrounding the main character was a really lovely touch, so that the women were holding each other up and building off each other's strengths rather than supplementing that with other male characters. I thought that was really well done. The audiobook performance is an American narrator, which is not what I usually go for, as you know if you've been around here for a while, but I found it to be narrated quite well. So it's narrated by Mozan Mano. I apologise if I'm saying that incorrectly. That's not an audiobook narrator I have come across before, but yeah, it was just really, really good. It was really well done. I really liked the way that they delivered the performance. I found it very enjoyable, and it wasn't too in your face. It was just this beautiful story being told. So I think that sort of sums up my main feelings for this book. It is very different to anything I've read. I'm not even sure what I would compare it to at this point. There is just nothing that comes to mind that I've read that comes close to how profoundly brilliant this book is. So I would highly recommend that you go and pick this up if you want a good story, if you want a story that is empowering for women, if you want a story that challenges history and what we know of it and questions whether more women did exist in history that were in positions of importance that simply haven't been recorded for being a woman. And just if you want a damn good book, like, this is just the book to go for. So let me know in the comments down below if you've read this or if you're planning on reading it. I would love to know. But other than that, I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.